Hello, this is Darice, and welcome back to Moonlifeastro. And if you're new, welcome to the channel. I use this space to talk to solopreneurs, creative visionaries, or spiritually curious folks about how they can use astrology and the transits of the moon to basically live their vision, their purpose, and either build, grow, or start a business. This week, we can get into the astrology of the week for July 23rd through July 30th. Basically, I feel like the overview for this week is really about upgrading our identities. We have energy that's going to invite us to focus on self-expression, leadership, strengthening our structures, and creating a space for emotional healing. In particular, we have a Leo new moon, which is about tapping into our inner courage and leading from accountability. I do have a separate video on the Leo new moon, so feel free to check that out. Please also do remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. That does help me grow the channel and get the message out to more people. And with that, we're going to get into the astrology for the week. And we're going to start with the Leo new moon. It's going to be July 24th, exact at 3:11 p.m. Eastern. This is a new cycle for visibility, confidence, joy, and creative authority. This energy is ideal for reclaiming your inner child's creative joy, creative voice. It's also a great use of energy to help you commit to being seen in your truth. And it can also help you decide how you want to show up more for yourself and for others. We're going to have the sun trine Saturn and Neptune on July 24th. And it's kind of interesting because later that day, we also have the sun squaring Saturn. So normally trines are pretty supportive. But the fact that they're happening hours before a Sun Saturn square, which is where you would begin to feel the energy as well, it might be more intense Friday. This is why I think this week is really about looking at how we see ourselves and what needs to be upgraded in our identity. Saturn is about structure, where we want to master things. So a trine with Saturn can lead to grounded, the sun trining Saturn, with the sun is also our identity, how we see ourselves. That can lead to us wanting to have our leadership be more grounded. But then the sun also trining Neptune, it creates spiritual vision. It might give us moments of intuitive clarity if we're on the right track, if we're on the right path. But if we're not, my intuition is that it could lead to more confusion, that Neptune fogginess that we sometimes have, especially since it's happening before this sun squaring Saturn. I think that sun squaring Saturn energy could highlight what's not in alignment. So there may be a sense of push-pull energy the 24th and the 25th as a result of that. But overall, I'm hoping the 24th will be a really nice, sweet day for people. I'm hoping it'll lead to some rare moments of alignment between our visions and our ability to discipline those dreams into action. You may want to look at your long-term vision and the strategy around those things. There may, actually the day of the sun square Saturn, either the 24th or the 25th, you might feel a sense of pressure, stress. You could feel fatigue, doubt, or resistance. If that's coming up, if there is a course correction that needs to be made, you may not feel the supportive aspects of those trines. That's where my intuition is telling me. So it could be a good time to look at where fear of judgment or perfectionism is creeping in. Basically, what's the cost of not trusting myself? I think this sun square Saturn, the tension is asking us to mature our leadership, not abandon it. Then on the 24th, we also have the sun opposite Pluto. So there's an opportunity for some truths to be revealed. You may have a new experience of your own power or the power of those around you. Pluto can bring intensity, transformation, and a confrontation with the shadow self. So in terms of business, we may need to see, it may be shown to us where we need to let go of outdated power dynamics. where our fear of being visible is blocking us, or where people pleasing is sabotaging us. So these are things to sit with, to look at, to work through, create the space for that. Especially because we're moving towards Chiron turning retrograde July 30th. Chiron, the wounded healer, the wound that we're always sort of moving through as we evolve throughout our lives. It's showing us what we need to master, what we need to heal in order to become our fuller selves. At least that's my theory behind Chiron. So when it's in Aries, which is about the self, how we show up, a Chiron in Aries retrograde, this could be about healing our hyper independence. It could be showing us where we need to have more courage and self trust. There will probably be themes of leadership, vulnerability coming to the surface. We actually have several retrogrades going on: Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto, which is usually happens usually about 4 or 5 months out of the year. We usually have overlapping retrogrades. A lot of people don't like retrogrades because they feel like they have more blockages or things slow down. My intuition with most retrogrades is that it's highlighting what needs to be course corrected so that when they go direct, we have the energy to move forward from a stronger position internally. So I like to use all the retrogrades ultimately from that perspective. And so with Chiron going retrograde shortly after a new moon, that's really asking us to show up, deal with where we have visibility wounds. My intuition at this Chiron retrograde is really going to be about how do we show up? What needs to be upgraded in terms of our identity, how we see ourselves, and how we present ourselves to others in the world. And I also think it's interesting, too, that on July 30th, Venus is going to be moving into Cancer, where it'll be until August 25th. Venus in Cancer, it shifts our focus to our values around our emotional connection and safety. It's about aligning your business with care, creativity, and courage. Venus in Cancer, I think, invites us to lead with heart, not hustle. It can soften the edges and strengthen our emotional intelligence and how we connect, create, and collaborate. This could be a really great time to nurture client relationships, refining a brand story with soul, and also encourage and ensure that your offerings feel like home, both for yourself and your audience, especially since it's happening during the backdrop of a Mercury retrograde. So in essence, this is a reminder to root your value in care, not comparison. Basically, be kind and tender to yourself during this week. We have some, I think, somewhat challenging aspects. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think any astrological transit is good or bad in and of itself. I think they're all tools showing us what we need to work on in terms of our own growth and healing and maturity. And I think this week is a really good reminder of those things. Basically, some reflection prompts. What boundary would support my joy and energy? Where am I hiding behind structure instead of using it to support me? What truth feels scary but necessary to express? So this is something you could sit with. And then if you do want to have a ritual, you could light a gold candle, place your hand on your heart, and write down 3 creative non-negotiables for your next season. An affirmation: I honor the fire in my soul and the structure that helps it grow. And so with that, that's basically what I have. Not too much going on this week. Feel free to put in the comments below maybe one of your non-negotiables or any ahas that came to you while you were listening to this. Again, I do appreciate each and every single one of you who do return. Welcome to the newcomers. And feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel. And just remember, this week is really about remembering that we have permission to step into our own authentic leadership. It can be both fiery and firm. So give yourself permission to let joy lead. And with that, easefully yours, Darice.